Hi, I'm your host, Elle Johnson, and I'm majoring in Robotics and Autonomous Systems Engineering at Arizona State University. This podcast discusses the use of AI in education and how it impacts the lives of disabled individuals. I chose this topic because I am someone who utilizes AI in education as a tool, not a crutch. As someone with multiple learning disabilities, I grew up using assistive technology, which was recommended by special education teachers. I have a severe case of dyslexia, so I had to go to specialist after specialist just to learn how to read and spell. After many years of getting pulled out of class and going to summer school just to learn how to read, I finally read my first chapter book, which was a series of unfortunate events. I was 16 years old, and it was the summer before my junior year of high school.
Let's rock.
Reading has been such a challenge, so I am thankful for the adaptive assistive technology that has now become available. Since I don't have the ability to read fluently, let alone comprehensively, I use Speechify, which is a text-to-speech software that was released in March of 2017 and now has over 50 million global users. Even though Speechify is an expensive software, having the ability for a non-robotic voice to read to me is life-changing. I went from all of my texts being read like this.
Hi there, I am Speechify's regular voice.
To this.
Hi there, I'm the voice of the creator of Speechify, Cliff Weitzman.
There are many different voices to choose from, such as,
Hey, this is Snoop Dogg.
Hi, this is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Hey, this is Mr. Beast.
After hearing it for yourself, put yourself in my shoes. Imagine having everything read to you in a robotic voice.
Let's rock.
I'm going to start by reviewing the data I collected through a survey I sent to a variety of 26 individuals, 46.2% having a learning disability of different ages, backgrounds, including people who are not disabled, and varying disabilities such as ADHD, dyslexia, OCD, autism, and many more. I also wanted a different perspective, especially the ones from teachers, so I reached out to some of my high school teachers to also take the survey, so I will be adding that in as well. The research shows the following. The first question I asked was if you are in favor or opposed to the use of AI in education. 69.2% of individuals are in favor, with 66.7% of teachers. Do you use AI for work? Schoolwork 57.7% said they do. How often do you feel the need to use AI? 7.7% disclosed they never use AI, 69.3% occasionally use AI, 15.4% of individuals use it pretty much every time, and 7.7% say they always use AI and depend on it. What are your opinions on AI? 18-year-old college student majoring in marine biology.
I think AI has both good and bad components. While it is most often used for cheating and cutting corners, which is very clearly bad, there are still some redeeming qualities. When used properly, AI can explain concepts in ways that make sense to the exact student and allows them to ask questions at any hour of the day and get an immediate response, which is incredibly helpful while studying.
The next person we'll be hearing from is a 18-year-old ASU college student majoring in pre-veterinary.
I think it is a really helpful tool for students and can be helpful if used correctly. However, some of the other things AI is used for, I don't agree with, such as art. There are some jobs that I believe AI shouldn't replace in our society, and artists are one of them.
My advisor from high school, who was also my math teacher, had a very interesting take on AI.
Generative AIs, such as ChatGPT, are not only terrible for the environment, but they also inhibit people's ability to think for themselves and analyze critically. On top of this, generative AI is consistently eating itself and making itself worse. I'm especially against it being used in school, since the skills that professors and teachers are trying to teach rely on students learning how to do things for themselves so they can succeed in their future place in society. If a doctor is using AI to write their medical papers, they should not be allowed to make medical decisions for their patients because they did not bother to learn the material for themselves to actually help others. Anything that is worth doing yourself. And if you could be bothered to write it, then why should I be bothered to read it?
For the 46.2% of the survey participants that have learning disabilities, I asked how they use AI for education. So I asked my high school robotics teacher / advisor / friend's mom / criminology teacher how she uses AI and she said that she uses it to aid in ideas for papers and correct grammar. And my friend, who is a nursing major, who also has dyslexia and ADHD, and she said that she uses Speechify to read to her. Also, a 16-year-old high school junior said,
I use AI to help verbalize my thoughts and take notes because I struggle immensely with both of those things.
I also asked this question to my best friend's mom, who is a special education physical occupational therapist for a school in Connecticut, and she said the following.
I am not disabled, but fun fact. I work with people who have various disabilities and we use technology all the time. I am really excited for advancements in AI for this population.
My favorite response by far was from my 20-year-old friend who is an artist and dropped out of art school to do a career on his own.
I use AI for research papers, essays, and to be real, I mainly watch funny AI-generated videos.
Let's rock.
For my second project for Professor Brewer, I did a rhetorical analysis on a podcast which was The Opportunist. Hosted by the New York Times and produced by Vishaka Darba, academic figures Meher Ahmad, Jessica Gross, and Tressie Macmillan Cottom explore the detrimental effects that artificial intelligence has on the youth of the United States in the episode AI is Fueling a Poverty of Imagination. Here's how we can fix it. Vishaka Darba started the podcast by asking the other speakers on a scale from 1 to 10 how they feel about AI being used by students in higher education. The overall agreement between the podcasters was a 2. I asked the same question to my best friend's mom, who is an occupational therapist at a school in Connecticut.
From a scale to 1 to 10, I would pick 8, and I feel it is extremely beneficial, but it's a slippery slope. Students should not ask it to write their entire essay.
What are the cons with using AI? This was a topic that was brought up during the podcast that I listened to, and here's what Tressie said.
AI doesn't deserve the trust that we give human beings when it comes to information that it gives us. And in fact, it can't earn that trust because it's not human. So that to me is the risk.
Tressie later brings up the cons of using AI in education and how it doesn't allow children to make mistakes and learn from them, instead getting the answer and leaving holes in their education.
Of things. The problem is learning the basic skill was a stepping stone to learning how to make sense of things, right? So the challenge there is that AI hollows out the foundation of learning because it kind of strips you, gets rid of the mistakes. It gets rid of the opportunities for serendipity.
Jessica discusses her viewpoint on young kids using AI and how it will negatively affect their reading ability, but in my opinion, if you have severe dyslexia, you should be allowed to use assistive technology when you're young, like starting in 5th or 6th grade.
I think it has zero place in K through 6 or 7. The fact that it is even in the differential of discussion for children that age is absurd to me because there's ample evidence that they do not learn how to read properly, just even with screens, read and comprehend properly. It's a different process. They really need paper, pen, the old-fashioned implements.
Let's rock.
To end off this podcast, I want to say you all just experienced AI being used in education. Because after I did the introduction, I switched from me talking to an AI Speechify version of me reading my script. I did this because I can't read fluently out loud, so it is one of my biggest fears, which I kind of conquered during this podcast. I hope this podcast brought a new light to the use of assistive technology, and I am thankful for the assistive technology tools that help me, like Speechify, that let me read books the same way as everyone else. I wouldn't be where I am today without it. I would like to state that everyone I quoted during this podcast consented to be a part and to be put in the podcast.